How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading while the price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, we are continuing forward, much like we did expect, so I would watch for a continuation of this. Remember, that could continue our double bottom area. We are approaching the neckline, though, so this is a critical area where if you did buy in hopes of a price increase, you may want to take your initial out and maybe some profits. That way, if we do reject the neck area, you do not lose anything. But we could continue forward, watch for that 300 EMA, that's the next critical resistance along our way to our break forward. If we can continue that up, then that would be very positive. So our stochastic is pretty flat, RSI is pushing forward, momentum is starting to round, watch that very close because VWAP is pulling back, and if that yellow wave, our VWAP, continues lower, momentum, that blue wave, will continue to round, and money flow will not continue into the green like we are trying to see here, and we will continue a sell-off, resulting in a correction here. Remember, that would be positive for crypto because usually they are inversely related. So if Dixie sells off, usually crypto would continue up. Over on the 1 hour, we are pushing forward. We did have this descending channel. Remember, a descending channel does push you up, and we did say to watch for that break forward. Our momentum is starting to round away, stochastic is starting to break down. We do have our orange above blue. Our VWAP is pulling back, so we do have a bearish trend. We have lower highs with lower lows. So we have a high here, a low here, a high here. That is lower than that high, and then we are currently making another low. That does give us a bearish trend to bring momentum lower. That can cause that money flow to continue to sell off, and then we would see Dixie continue to reject. So I would watch very close. We did try to retest our 102 area and we did lose it. So if we are not able to reclaim our EMA and hold, it's likely we will continue to see rejection here. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we do have a big gap to the downside. So that means our altcoins did better than Bitcoin. That's about all it means, about by 1%. So this gap does mean we do have an area we can bounce up to. So that being said, Bitcoin could outperform our altcoins at some point. So even if we do start to break down here and we do get alt season, that means Bitcoin could jump up and do better than the altcoins afterwards. Our stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to pull back. Momentum is rounding. We do have a red dot. VWAP is breaking down and the money flow is starting to go into the red. So watch that VWAP. If that VWAP continues lower here, momentum will continue to round, and that red dot does show it does want to continue to break down, which will cause money flow to deepen in the red, showing further sell-off, which would mean Bitcoin would continue to do worse than our altcoins. That doesn't mean it has to sell off, but that just means it would not gain as well. So over on total for the daily, we did try to get our break forward. We did have a descending channel here as well, but we rejected our resistance area. So we rejected that 602. If we see further red candles here, it's likely we will retest this 300 EMA back here. And if we break that 300 EMA, again, watch for a consistent low. If we make consistent highs and lows in this range, we could make a rising channel, and a rising channel would break us down. So I would warn against that aspect, but watch for a bounce off that 300 EMA. That could try to invalidate that pattern. I don't believe that would connect at this point. We could draw one out real quick. So yeah, that would not connect. We would have to get pretty far in order for that to connect. With that EMA coming down, it's not likely that EMA is going to come down very quick because it's 300 daily candles on this time frame. Remember that EMA, that black line, is 300 of whichever time frame you're on. We cover that in the Master in the Trade if you're unfamiliar, so visit that playlist. Our RSI does want to pull back, stochastic is rounding, VWAP does want to push down. We do have a weak high, so I would watch. If this VWAP continues to push down on the lower time frames here, momentum will continue lower, and our money flow will continue to push lower as well. That will result in further bearish momentum, and the daily starting to break down. So over on the 1 hour, we did warn, like when we were in here, that we could make a shoulder, head, and shoulder. So I would watch because this could be our shoulder, that could be our head. This could be our other shoulder, and we could have gotten a bounce off what would be the neckline, so that could be positive, but we are starting to reject our EMAs. So I would exercise caution. We can use this tool right here to kind of draw that out. I would exercise caution against any kind of breakdown because this could be a pretty strong breakdown, as that's a pretty decently sized pattern. So you would draw from the neckline to the head, and then you would apply that down. Actually, it's kind of calculating that wrong. Your neckline would be more right there, so you would apply that down, and that could give us a break to around that E456, so that could be revisiting some recent lows, and on some coins, maybe even lower lows like ALGO. So I would warn, maybe take some profits if you have now, right? Remember, you want DCA in and out, so look for these support areas as ranges you can buy in or sell off at. Our VWAP does want to push forward. Momentum is gaining strength. We do have a double green dot. The best discounted alts, I don't really promote many alts. I go off basically what's on this list. These are mainly what I'm holding. I do hold other coins as well, but these are all the coins that have been requested in the past. Render could be big. Graph could be big. Ankr could be big. These are more like AI kind of coins. Render does have some use where you can lend like your unused GPU power, so that could be interesting. Flows more like NFT market. Pyre is like a gaming kind of thing, so that's Vulcan Forged. And then you have your traditional like Bitcoin and Ethereum. I typically would say stay away from meme coins if you don't want to gamble. Meme coins are kind of sketchy, so that's the only thing I would warn against getting. Everything else that's more established, like in the top 100, those are good ones to get. We do cover like what the idea of a blue chip in the stock market is in our Mastering the Trade playlist. So visit that, and that should give you some pretty decent information if you haven't visited that already. But I appreciate the question. Our VWAP is pushing forward. We do have higher lows. We do want to break forward. If we can get higher highs, we can continue this bounce and continue forward. And momentum does have a double green dot, so that is positive. SNX or DAG, I would actually have to look those two up. Oops, I did not mean to go to the next coin. So if you stick around with me till we get to ALGO, we will cover those for you, and we can kind of do some TA and see how they're looking for you. So that VWAP does want to push up. That could be positive. Again, that could push us forward. We will jump to futures now. So futures does have kind of two gaps going on. We have a slight gap above us that is positive. We do have a slight gap below us. So I would watch for that gap below to fill. If we fill, that would be ideal. Remember, that's on lower time frames, and gaps have an 80% chance to fill. So if we fill that, that would be positive. We can continue a bounce forward if we do not lose that range. We do also have two gaps above us on the lower time frame. We have the 61.9 gap, so that's a very mini gap on like the 1 hour. We will show that, but we also have this gap on the daily forming today. Remember, gaps do have 80% likelihood to fill, so if we do break down, that does give you the potential to push forward, 80% likelihood. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is starting to push down. VWAP is pushing down, and money flow is selling off. So we do look like we could see some further correction. We did reject that 300 EMA here on the 1 hour. So if we continue to push down, it's likely we will remain on the bearish side of this EMA channel. And if we do not get back above that EMA, it's likely we will see further bearish momentum. Again, that isn't necessarily bad. That support range isn't too bad as long as we don't lose like that complete 57K zone. We have 57 here. We have about the 54K zone here. The 57 I did not highlight right in here, so that's where that 57K gap is. Ideally, we would make a bounce off that 57K gap. You don't have to fill every gap, so we could leave that 54K gap alone. We may not fill it, so I would watch more in that 57K range. Not advice, but that's kind of what I would do right now. We are overall pushing down. RSI is pushing down. Stochastic is trying to push up. Yeah, what do you think of some of the things that have you seen going on with like ALGO and stuff? Like some people have been jumping out. How do you feel about that and how their governance is changing? VWAP is pushing forward. Our momentum does want to gain strength, so we do have the potential to bounce. Watch for that VWAP to hold a bullish trend though. If we do not hold a bullish trend, it's likely we will continue in a bearish trend here. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are starting to round away. I would watch. This could be that lower high. If we push below that purple EMA, we can make a lower low. If we make that lower low, then we can have a bearish trend forming, or we could have a bullish trend. Remember, if the highs and lows connect, we would have a descending channel. A descending channel pushes you up. Again, visit Mastering the Trade. But if we get the highs and lows that do not connect, that is the bearish continuation, which continues you to the downside. Now, futures does pretty much rhyme with Bitcoin, so much of what you see will happen with futures. But they'll be kind of rhyme, be very similar. RSI is pulling back, stochastic selling off. VWAP is rejecting bullish territory. We got a little weak wave, and now we're pulling back. That momentum is pushing down with the red dot, so overall we are seeing a little bit of a push to the downside here. So over on the 1 hour, we did reject our EMA here as well. I like it too. Some people aren't a big fan of like the foundation and stuff. I'm not too partial either way. So kind of curious what your take may be on them. Kind of curious, some people think they're trying to dilute. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Momentum is trying to push forward. That VWAP does want to gain strength. Money flow is remaining more bearish. Our stochastic does want to push up, and RSI is weakening. ALGO is also a good one to kind of hedge against the XRP. You'll see XRP here. They're both kind of in the CBDC kind of marketplace. ALGO does have a little other use cases as well, so that's why I have it, because it's not strictly on one use case. I like things that can have more than one use case because it gives you more potential to succeed. So over on the 1 hour, we are rejecting that EMA level. We are also rejecting our 16,316, continuing below. We did have a channel here, can't kind of see it right now. We'll get on down the 1 hour. RSI is pulling back, our stochastic is pushing down, VWAP is breaking down. We do have a lower high here compared to back here, so watch for continued lows. If we get continued lows, momentum will break down and money flow will continue to the downside. Over on the 1 hour, we do have that descending channel. We did try to break forward, but we did not get that hold. So remember, you want to get your bounce and a confirmation. You don't want to just trade because you see a breakout, because if you reject like we do here, then you're likely going to lose out. So this is the case why you want to wait for that second green candle, because if you would have seen a red candle and then you would have known to watch the market. So overall, our VWAP is trying to break bullish, but it's starting to pull back. Momentum does want to push forward. We have a double green dot. Money flow does want to push up. So we do look decent here. Over on the 1 day for Ankr, we are starting to reject the 2673. So I would watch. That could be that lower high. Watch for lower lows and watch for a break of the value area low. That is likely going to be the next support area we would visit. RSI and stochastic are dropping. VWAP is breaking down. We have a lower high again compared to back here. Momentum could see consistent lows. If we see that, momentum will continue lower. Money flow will break down and price will potentially break that value area low on that fixed range volume profile, which could cause us to push down toward 2020. So bad pandemic area. So over on the 1 hour here, our stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP is gaining strength, our momentum does want to push up, and money flow is trying to recover. Watch that VWAP. If it stays bullish, momentum can continue forward, and money flow can continue to gain strength. However, if that VWAP does reject this area and make a lower high compared to back here, we could still see consistent lows and see bearish momentum, so watch that VWAP very close. If it starts to break that neutral, I would pay very close attention. Over on XRP for the daily, we do have that bear flag that we did map out yesterday. Remember, that could be a very bad flag. It could take us, well, 241, so not catastrophic, but pretty much a support region we have seen very consistently. However, if we do manage to invalidate it, remember we do have that 80-cent area, so about the risk is better than the reward right here, but you would still want to watch for that confirmation. You don't want to just trade just because we're in a bullish pattern, because remember, this bearish pattern can still work against us. Our momentum is pushing down. That VWAP does want to round. Money flow is favoring bearish. Stochastic is rounding. RSI is pulling back. So overall, I would exercise caution and watch this very close. But in respect to our flag, we have had several attempts to the top, so 1, 2, and 3 here. Usually after the third, if you do not see a rejection, you would push the opposite way, but we did not see touches to the bottom. We didn't rhyme the same touches to the bottom. We only have pretty much one area here. You could count that as 3, but I'm going to count it as 1 because it was very frequent, very close. So this could be another attempt, and we could be coming down right now. Watch if we can push forward in this range. Remember, if we lose our flag a little bit, push down into our other flag and then make a bounce, that still wouldn't be the end of the world. We could still see a reversal and a push up. Remember, watch for confirmations. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is starting to weaken. That VWAP is favoring bearish and momentum is starting to push with lower lows. Watch that VWAP very close. If it rejects here, money flow will remain bearish and price action will continue to break down. Yeah, I agree. It's only going to hurt them in the long run if they dilute, plus they could be held accountable for things like SBF was accountable for if they tried doing so. So over on the daily, RSI is starting to pull back. That stochastic is starting to sell off. That VWAP is starting to reject that neutral. Watch it very close. If we continue to reject here, momentum could continue to reject as well, remaining in bearish territory, and money flow could go from green to red, showing that we do have further sell-off. So again, I would watch this channel very close because our 1032 is pretty much like where we have all-time lows on a solid candle body. We do have like other all-time lows around like, if you count our wick, that recent wick, that 941, so that could be another low, but this rising channel can take us down to 89.97. So, or 897, sorry, can't read apparently, so 897, so that could be a new low for us. Watch for that area to hold. If we do make like a bigger descending channel with this high and then those lows, that could push us up in the long term, but right now for the short term, I would just watch for that area. So we do have our point control here. We do also have our value area low from our fixed range volume there. So we have visited that area. Sorry, I stand corrected. We have visited 823 before. So if we broke that, that would be kind of the area where I would watch, maybe bag up if you're a big algo fan. But again, everything is speculative, so everything has just as much risk and reward to it, in my opinion, as long as you stay within the top coins. Our stochastic does want to round away and stay away from meme coins. RSI is starting to push down, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is pushing down, and money flow does want to pull back, so I would exercise caution there. Over on the 1 hour, we did reject that 300 EMA, and now we are on the lower side of our EMA band. If we continue to the lower side of this band, watch for it to start to spread apart like it did back here, as that will cause further bearish momentum like back here. But when it does start to curl back up, you can get that push forward. So that's going to be your cue that maybe you should start buying in, or at least consider buying in. RSI is pretty flat, stochastic does want to push up, VWAP is trying to break bullish, momentum does have a double green dot, that is positive. If that VWAP can stay bullish, that momentum can push our money flow higher. We are trying to get higher lows on that momentum and our money flow. So if we can push money flow higher, then we can start to see a bounce here and possibly invalidate our pattern. Remember, usually after the third touch, you want to see your break. We got 1, 2, 3. So this is a critical range to watch here. So if I can remember, there we go. There's the key. So S and X. So we'll do SNX, we'll do that against the USDC. So Synthetics Network, I'm not too sure what this coin actually is about. If you want to explain a bit what it's about, I could actually look over it later. If you want to join my Discord, we could also discuss it there. There should be a link in the description about halfway through if you want to join the Discord. Momentum is favoring bearish. We do have a red dot, so I would watch. That VWAP is starting to reject as well. Money flow is bullish though, so again, that is positive. That does mean we have buying pressure here. Stochastic is starting to round away. The orange does want to cross that blue, so we could have a bearish cross here. Watch for that to confirm. If we do confirm, that would be a kick below that 30, which would put in bearish territory and start to weaken RSI and bring price lower with it. But that being said, we do have the potential for this to be a rising channel. So right there's our highs, right there's our lows, so that is a rising channel. You would measure from high to low to get your break point, and that could give us a push back to 2378. So that could be a decent push. I would warn against those EMAs, so remember those EMAs are going to try to work against you. So over on the daily, we do have that positivity there that could push us up. Yeah, that is one positive thing about meme coins is they try to get some people hyped up, but I know a few people that have gotten pretty burned because they wanted to buy into the hype after like the market crash, and right now is really not the time unless you're timing the perfect meme coins like the political meme coins. So this 1 hour does look pretty prime for some trades. We do have some gaps to the upside. That could mean we could push up to this 1402. So I would watch that as a resistance. We do also have this 1470, but that is above our 300 EMA, so watch that EMA close if we do approach that range. VWAP does want to break bullish. We do have a shorter wave here, so watch for a stronger bullish wave. If we get a stronger bullish wave, momentum could continue forward. RWA is also a good kind of asset coin to have. I can't get the words out today. Real world assets, so tokenizations of stocks and stuff could be a very strong thing in the kind of years to come in the current cycle. So that could be a very decent project in my opinion. I would have to see more like what kind of networks it's on. Is it its own network? I know there's Aave, that's its competitor, I believe. So that does have some things going for it, like lending and things like that. But I would warn against lending, because then you are giving away your coins and not your keys, not your coins. So I would warn against that. But momentum is overall pushing down. VWAP is trying to break forward. Watch that VWAP close. If it can break forward and hold, we can push momentum up and money flow could flip back into the green. However, watch for some consolidation here. If we get consolidation here, we can make a bear flag, and a bear flag in this range will kind of map it out here. Wrong tool there. So parallel channel, then draw that sideways, draw that down. Then you would measure with your trend line from the top to the breakdown, apply that down, and that could give us a retest of the bottom. So nothing too crazy there. I would watch. Own network, yeah, I'd had to research more on both of these coins. I haven't heard much of own network. Again, I stay more in like the top coins, so like your traditional coins that people hate. So, did not go on the right DAG here. So DAG, I'm just all over the place tonight. I apologize about that, but DAG, that was the right one in the first place. Shockingly, the USDT was on top. So over on the daily, we are in a bit of a downward trend, but I would watch. This could be bearish continuation as the highs and lows really don't connect too well. You may be able to draw a descending channel here, but that would be pending if we can make a solid bounce right around this previous consolidation range. If we don't, that could try to continue to push us lower, possibly getting some new local lows. So I would warn against that, possibly a decent buying opportunity for you as well. Constellium, so not too sure what this one is either. I would have to check this one out as well. So our momentum is breaking down. That VWAP is favoring bearish. That stochastic is breaking down. RSI is starting to weaken, so I would warn against this daily. It doesn't look too promising right now. It is a little more leaning toward the bearish side. Over on the 1 hour, we did break our 300 EMA. We have been below our EMA band for quite some time, so I would watch for it to start to round up at some point soon. We have had a couple of attempts in the recent history, so watch if we can get higher highs with higher lows. That could start to be an indication of a price reversal. Stochastic does want to push forward. VWAP is trying to break bullish, but watch for a lower high. We do have a lower low, so if we make a lower high, that would be a bearish trend, which would continue to push momentum and money flow lower, which will weaken those higher time frames and give us that possibility to possibly see new lows here. So we do look decent as well, as long as we can hold this channel. If we lose this channel, then it may get a little sketchy. So I appreciate all the comments you have left, Hot Hype. I appreciate all the interaction. Hope you subscribe. Hope you join our Discord. I appreciate all of you. The invite goes out to everyone. Have a great